Welcome to the Goodbye Guilt and Shame podcast, a space where healing is possible, hope is alive, and your story matters. With your hosts, Jess Lane and Autumn Smith, we are so glad you're here. In this special mini-series, we are diving deep into the truth about pregnancy resource centers, uncovering myths and misconceptions about the support they offer, exploring honest conversations, personal breakthroughs, and meaningful truths that help us move beyond the weight of guilt and shame that can follow unexpected pregnancy situations. Each episode is designed to remind you, we adore you. You matter, and today can and will be better than yesterday. So take a breath, settle in, and if this podcast speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe, like the episode, leave a kind and honest comment, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. Today's guest, Nicole Pierce with Options 360 Women's Clinic, is up next, right after our show sponsor. We'll see you in a moment.
This episode is sponsored by Restored Nation, an organization helping people heal from grief, trauma, addiction, and post-abortion pain through no-cost, trauma-informed support groups and retreats. Their offerings include miscarriage grief care sessions, after-abortion recovery groups, and the impactful Unraveled Roots group, designed to explore the deeper why behind harmful patterns and behaviors, helping participants identify root causes and begin true healing. Each group runs for 6 to 9 weeks, is completely confidential and free of charge, including all materials. For those looking for an even deeper experience, the She's Restored Retreat offers 4 powerful days of healing and connection for under $150, with all meals and lodging included. Restored Nation also partners with churches, clinics, and recovery centers to expand their reach and equip local leaders. To find a group, sign up for a retreat, or support the mission, visit restorednation.org. We're proud to have them as a sponsor of this mini-series and grateful for the hope and healing they bring.
Welcome to Goodbye Guilt and Shame, the podcast where we dig deep into truth, shine light in dark places, and create space for healing and restoration. I'm Jess Lane, joined by my amazing co-host, Autumn Smith. In this special mini-series, Unmasking the Myths Inside Pregnancy Resource Centers. Over the course of this series, you'll hear directly from staff and leaders of real pregnancy resource centers in Oregon and Washington. You'll learn what services they offer, what drives them, and how they meet women where they are with honesty, respect, and unwavering care. It's time to challenge the lies. It's time to slow down and get the facts. It's time to tell the truth about pregnancy resource centers. All right. I don't know about you guys, but so far we have had a really great time doing this podcast. We've already had a couple great guests on the show. We're so excited for that to drop and for people to hear the episodes. And I don't know, I'm also just very excited to have Autumn with us, a new co-host, which has been so fun. So anyways, we're just really glad you guys are here.
Absolutely. I so agree. I'm really honored to be your co-hostess, and I'm just really loving the conversations we're having. They're so important and crucial in the world today. Just unmasking these lies and learning more about what's actually happening in these resource centers is actually really encouraging to me as a person in society and even as a believer. It's just been really helpful for us. Yeah, I love it. If this episode moves you or challenges you or even makes you curious to learn more, don't stop here. We would love it if you could follow, download, and share this podcast miniseries to help spread awareness and highlight the vital resources that we discussed today and ongoing in this miniseries. We're available on all the major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. If you have questions or a story to share, we'd love to hear from you at ask@restorednation.org. Joining us today on Goodbye Guilt and Shame podcast is Nicole Pierce, Donor Relationship Manager for Options 360 Women's Clinic in Vancouver, Washington. Nicole joined Options 360 Women's Clinic in 2016 as a clinic manager, where she spent 6 years witnessing firsthand the struggles of the women they serve and the profound impact the clinic's services had on their lives. Throughout her time in that role, she developed a deep appreciation for the donors who make their work possible. Nicole finds great joy in her current position, where she gets to build meaningful relationships with those who support Options 360. Nicole is married with 2 grown children. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her family, hiking, and she and her husband enjoy fishing and camping together.
Welcome to the show, Nicole. We are so glad you could be with us today to talk about how Options 360 is serving women and families in Vancouver, Washington. My goal, the whole reason that we are doing this mini-series, is to share the unknown facts with our listeners about each clinic that we get to interview. We want to expose the myths and the lies spoken about these clinics, specifically or in general, to dismiss them and get rid of them and really highlight the wonderful, amazing things they're doing in the community. So we are so glad that you're here today to help us learn more about Options 360. So why don't I have you begin by just introducing yourself? I know we just talked a little bit about you, but share maybe just a few things about you that are fun facts, you could say, and anything else you feel like you want to share.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jess and Autumn, too, for having me here today. I'm so excited to share about options and more excited about this series. So a little bit of fun facts about me. Probably one of the most fun or funniest facts is that I was born in Oklahoma, and even though I only spent about 2 weeks there, somehow developed a twang, which don't quite understand, but you'll hear it probably throughout me speaking.
Wow.
Other than that, as mentioned, I am married and have 2 grown kids, so been dealing with the empty nest life for the last couple years and just adjusting to that.
Yeah, I definitely know all about that. So for sure. Yeah, and I know it said that you enjoy hiking. Where's your favorite place to go?
You can't go wrong with the gorge. Definitely beautiful hikes around there. I don't get out as much as I'd like to. It definitely takes a lot of planning and time to be able to commit, but it is something that I definitely enjoy to do.
That's awesome. All right, good. Okay, so let's jump in and get right to some information about Option 360. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how and why your center was founded? Like, when did that all come about?
Yes, so Options 360 was founded in 2004 by 2 women who became really increasingly worried about unplanned pregnancies that were happening and the lack of support for women in the area, and started in Battleground in just a cute little home-like building, and from that heart has grown into 21 years of serving women pregnancy-related and outside of pregnancy with other support.
Wow. That's really cool. I did not know that it started in just a small home. Is that what you said? Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a home-like building. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That is really neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that people see the need and they're trying to meet it however they see fit and however that works out for them. And I'm so grateful that it has grown and has been, blessed and just been able to be a resource for the whole community. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. What is the mission or heartbeat behind the work that you do?
If I had to sum it up, it would really be for women to know their value and worth. We know that they are made in the image and likeness of God, but for them to know that too. And we do that best by just offering the medical services and education to equip and empower them to healthier decisions.
Yeah. That's so true. And I think it really is important, the identity piece behind this, knowing that they are made in the image of God and that therefore their child is made in the image of God.
Absolutely.
And that will propel them to making the right choice, just to choose the life that is already there, propel that forward. So that's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that. What types of individuals work or volunteer at your medical clinic?
So we have a variety of volunteers for our medical appointments. All of the appointments have to be seen by a professional medical license. We have registered nurses that see our medical patients, and then we also have our parent education program has we have parent education coaches that don't have to be licensed. We have receptionists, we have housekeeper, we have data entry. So there's a wide variety of volunteer options at the clinic.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Can you share with us the type of medical professionals that you have on your team?
Yes. So we have, again, registered nurses. We also have certified medical assistants. We do have a staff physician there who is there pretty much every day of the week.
Yeah. It's really important for our listeners to know that these medical professionals, they are licensed. They are certified to be there. They are not just someone random off the street or someone who has a heart for this mission, but they actually have gone through the school and the training to be there. They are certified to there they're able to have the knowledge and the skill set and all the certifications to honestly help. And so I really love that. I really appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely. That's really important to us too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would matter to me too, I think. Absolutely, that the hands of my health would be into someone who actually went through the healthcare system and knows the ins and outs of our biology. So that's awesome. Going back a couple of questions, I'm just curious, what is your personal stake in the ground? What is your heartbeat behind the work that you do in this clinic? Is there anything that kind of has drawn you personally to that work? Is there something that keeps you going? What is your why?
I love that question. And I just love how God has really put things full circle for me. So when I started back in 2016, I was a clinic manager. And so I worked on the operations end. So I was more patient facing. And there was many times where I sat with the patients or I helped in as an ultrasound assistant. And I really got to hear personally from these women and the circumstances that they were in, which was just really heartbreaking. And there was many nights where to be honest, I cried. And I just thank God that we had people who supported us and we had a door open for these women to come in. And now come full circle as the donor relationship manager, I get to reach out and personally thank our donors. So I was thanking them before it was even my job to thank them. And so I just think it's a really cool position that I am in right now. And it just brings me a lot of joy, just being able to connect with our donors, getting to know their heart, why they believe in options, or what if they have a personal story that might connect them, if they had a miscarriage or maybe they had an abortion. So that I think it's just a really beautiful position that I get to be in right now.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing just your why behind what you do. And I think that is so true. It's really valuable to be on both sides of that, where you're sitting in the room with these gals who are struggling and who are walking through hard circumstances of life. I know I shared in our last episode that my personal story of being a woman in that chair. And although I wasn't completely contemplating abortion, I was really scared and it was really surrounded by circumstances. And so to be able to be in the room with those women and hearing those stories, I'm sure is so powerful and draws your why. And then on the other side of it, where you're now getting to speak to people who are giving and making this mission and these clinics run. Without their support, it doesn't happen. So that's just incredible. Your work is super valuable. I appreciate you sharing that story. What specific services does your medical clinic offer to women facing a pregnancy, and who is allowed to offer those services?
So pregnancy related, we do, of course, have the pregnancy test confirmation, which is more of our intake appointment where we're establishing their pregnancy, really taking the time to meet with our patients, find out if they have any support, how they're feeling about the pregnancy. And then we do offer limited ultrasounds. So, we're looking for the vital components, making sure the baby's in the right location so it's not an ectopic pregnancy, making sure the baby has a heartbeat so that it's a viable pregnancy, and then also measurements for accurate dating for the patient. And then, of course, we have our parent education program that offers over 300 classes classes to really guide that patient and the father or guest to what is going on with the fetal development, what to expect during doctor appointments, life skills, and so on. It's such a valuable part of the pregnancy related services that we have to offer.
Yeah, I think that alone actually debunks one of the myths of the fact that these are actual tests that are being done. There's actual proof being shown that there's a pregnancy. There's follow-up appointments and things of that nature that happen in this clinic. That's amazing. Could you specify who is allowed to offer these kinds of services within your clinic?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot to add that.
That's
part.
okay.
So again, any of our pregnancy test appointments are offered by a licensed medical professional. And then for our ultrasounds, same for that, our registered nurse or our physician sometimes will do the ultrasounds. And then again, for the parent education program, that can be offered by someone that's not medically licensed since it's not medical information. But if any of those classes do obtain anything medical, then one of our medical professionals actually helps the patient with that class.
Okay. That's valuable clarification. What does the ultrasound process entail at your clinic? Do you mind walk us through what does a woman experience when she goes in there for an ultrasound specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do require a pregnancy test intake appointment first, just so we can make sure that the patient is indeed pregnant. But after that appointment, the patient could schedule for an ultrasound, and there's little to no turnaround time. In fact, sometimes we can offer an ultrasound same day, which is really unique and incredible. But the patient comes in for her ultrasound. She's allowed to bring the father if possible. We always encourage that. If the father's not in the picture, then we encourage the patient to bring a guest. For support, of course. So we offer ultrasounds anywhere from 6 weeks to 24 weeks gestation. During that experience, we do have big screen TV directly in front of the patient that she can watch the ultrasound live if she chooses. We always ask permission before we turn on that TV. Those 3 vital components that we're looking for in the ultrasound. And then after that, the nurse goes over all that information with the patient. The patient is given pictures, 2D pictures if she chooses. And then also accompanying with that is a homemade blanket provided by many women in different areas that like to sew or knit.
I really appreciate you clarifying that there's actually lots of choices that we're giving these women along the process, especially even in the ultrasound. They have a choice of whether or not they want to see what's going on inside there. And I just love that. I think that's a beautiful picture of, really bringing value to the woman that you guys are serving in the moment. I really love that. And that kind of leads into our next question. I was going to ask what kind of support is provided for fathers or other family members while they're there, or even beyond that. Do you have anything to share about that?
Absolutely. So fathers or a guest are always welcome to any of our appointments. We definitely encourage that. Everything from the pregnancy test, the initial appointment, to the ultrasound, they're more than welcome to come in. We also encourage the father or guest to attend our parent education classes. In fact, there's more incentive for the women if they do have the father or guest in earning. It's like digital money where they could shop at or store so they're earning while they're learning concept. So yeah, in fact, my office is directly across from our parent education store. And anytime I hear a man or a dad's voice, my ears just perk up and my heart smiles, because we know how valuable the men being involved in the women's lives and their support is so substantial for these women. So it definitely brings my heart full of joy, as I know it does anybody else in the clinic too, when we hear a man's voice.
Yeah, that is so true. That's amazing. What kinds of resources or material assistance do you offer after a baby is born? Leading into what you just said, it sounds like there's an incentive there. They earn money to go to the store?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So patients, they take the class, and our classes are done either in person there at the clinic, or we offer them online. So there's no barrier to the patient being able to have that class. If there's transportation issues or anything like that, or small children where they just can't get away from home, but they're after every class, they're earning like digital money, and that money is being used for them to be able to shop in our store, which is supplied with a variety of things, everything from diapers and wipes to shampoo, all the necessities, to clothing, to blankets, to even things as critical as car seats and strollers. So we do have a wide variety of material assistance that we offer through our parent education program. So that is something definitely very valuable in-house that we offer. And then there are a lot of community resources out in the community that we like to partner our patients with, in addition to services that we have, like WIC, for example. And then also, like, for our classes and all of our things inside the clinic at our store, they go from newborn to 3T. So we're really caring for that mom and baby after the baby's born. And then after that, we partner with an organization called Embrace Grace, and they actually help moms and babies all the way up till elementary age. So we do partner with them as well.
Yeah, that is so valuable because it really knocks down some of those barriers that women are having. Making sure that women can attend and can get the resources they need whenever they already have children, or they already have something established, which can prevent them from wanting to choose life in those instances. Having Options 360 as a resource, as coming alongside those families who already are established, and making sure that their barriers are knocked down and their needs are met in order to get the help that they need, is really valuable. So I appreciate you sharing that about your clinic. That's awesome.
Yeah, Nicole, it really is becoming quite clear that Options 360 is a shining light in the community in Vancouver, and that there are many resources available to folks that are in a situation where their parenting is going to be a challenge. So we're just so thankful. I'm going to ask you some of the questions that sort of brought us to this mini series, because we want to get behind what are these myths, or what are these things that are being spoken about the clinics that really just aren't true. And we want to shine a light so that people that maybe are scared or have heard them can come and they're like, wait, actually, I can trust this place no matter what. And we've seen that up to this point, everything you guys do is no cost, and it's done by medical professionals or trained people that are there to support them. So that's all covered, which is great. So what would you say one of the biggest accusations is that PRCs use manipulation or coercion? How would you respond to that?
To be honest, that one is quite frustrating for me, because I personally know from experience that's far from true. So our heart, and I'm sure it's the same heart as other PRCs, is to equip and empower women. And you certainly can't do that by manipulation or coercion. So it's always been about the woman's choice, and for Options 360 it always will be. And no matter what that woman chooses, we will always be there for her.
Yes, and I really love that sentiment, because you guys don't charge for services, you don't manipulate them in the door. You're just saying, hey, we are here. We're people that some of us get paid to be here, but most of us don't. And we really serve you and help you know the facts about what's really going on in your body and what's the truth behind fetal development and all those fun things, so that you can make an informed decision. And so I really love that. I also know firsthand that's just not how you operate as well. And that's, people can trust that. What does a first time visit to your clinic actually look like for a woman that might find herself feeling really worried about her situation? Could you paint that picture for us?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I love most about our clinic that I find is unique is there's little to no wait time. And that is especially vital for women who are in that crisis mode. They're already coming in, they're already anxious and feeling a lot of different emotions. So the last thing we want them is to be sitting out in our waiting room for a long period of time. We also have our intake forms that are digital. So patients are sent those forms forms prior to even coming in. And so all that is already done by the time if she chooses to do them on her phone before she comes in. So that's already done. So basically when a patient comes in, they are greeted warmly by our medical receptionist, who is staff. We only have staff medical receptionists. And she just shows her ID and checks in. And then the nurse quickly comes out to get that patient and personally walks her to a room and then welcomes her in, asks permission to close the door. We always want our patients to feel safe and secure and not feel trapped or that they can't leave at any time. So we're very sensitive to those things with our patients. And then the nurse goes over a questionnaire with the patient. Actually, the patient fills it out herself. And that really helps guide that nurse to be able to know what kind of support, if any, the patient has, what her thoughts are about the pregnancy, because we don't believe in a one size fits all for our patients. They all have unique stories and circumstances, and we really want to tailor our appointments and our approaches to that to honor the patient. And that's how the very first appointment goes.
Great. That's so good. Really good. So clear and concise, but so honoring throughout the whole process. I love that. And so to kind of expand on that a little bit, how do you guys ensure that your clients are informed and not pressured? So I know you've touched on that a little bit, but maybe if there's anything else that you guys do that you would like to share, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So really it's as simple as providing evidence-based information and education and not using our own opinions or our preferences. And it really does just boil down to that. And so that's just how we make sure for every appointment to stick to the facts and just to give all the information for patients for them to be able to make informed decisions.
Yeah, that's great. And that is what we need. That's what I needed when I called the clinic, not a pregnancy resource center, but an abortion clinic. I actually needed someone to do that for me and they didn't. So it's just so great to hear that's what you guys are doing. This is going to sound like a silly question, but I do want our listeners to know the answer. Do you require clients to be part of the Christian faith to receive care from you guys?
Not at all. Not at all. We're very sensitive that the majority of our patients most likely aren't from a Christian faith. And we welcome all patients to our clinic. And in fact, we ask for permission to even have any type of faith or spiritual conversation. And we really just guide that throughout the conversation when it suits. We don't just come off and start talking about Jesus. Even if we wanted to in our heart, we're very sensitive to our patients and their background, and we would never, ever want any patient to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think we asked that question because while most pregnancy resource centers were birthed out of somebody of faith, usually someone in the faith community, and as it should be, the church does need to step up and does need to be a part of providing and helping women for sure. So I'm glad that's the case. But then the myth or the lie then becomes, they're going to manipulate you to choose what they want you to choose. And so I love that you've really highlighted you use medical information that's fact-based and that those that interact with your clients are not there to give their own opinion, but just to help them understand the truth about what's really going on. And I think that's important and so great. I love that. Okay, so let's transition just a little bit here. Could you share maybe a story with us? And you can keep, of course, the person anonymous as you would anyways, but either a woman or a family whose life was changed through your center, if you have a story to share.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the impact that we make and for most PRCs is so substantial for every woman, no matter what walk she's in. But one story that comes to my mind is our physician, Dr. Jim Hyde. He was meeting with a patient who she was just having very intense headaches. She wasn't feeling good. She obviously wasn't happy about the pregnancy based on those circumstances right there. And our doctor just really took the time to ask her questions and to get to try to find the root cause of the problem, which wasn't the pregnancy. Come to find out, she wasn't staying hydrated. She wasn't eating regularly. All these things that impact on her and how she feels. So he gave her some juice and he sat with her and he talked with her. And again, just spent time asking those questions and getting the answers and providing feedback. And oftentimes that right there is what our patients need. They just need to be heard and to be seen and know what they're experiencing is valid. And so I think that moment right there, you don't always get that in the field. Someone that's really wanting to listen to you and to help you. And so that's what we believe in doing at Options 360. That's our approach to all of our patients, is really just taking the time to listen so that they feel seen and heard.
You got it. That's so good. That's exactly what we want. What are some of the most common misconceptions that you've heard about pregnancy resource centers? If we haven't already discussed them, if we have, then that's okay. But what are some that maybe we haven't talked about?
Of course, as we talked about, pressuring the patient to choose life, which again, it's always the woman's choice. That we don't care about the baby after they're born. We just want to make sure that the patient chooses life. And after that, they're just on their own, which is so far from true, especially since we have our parent education program that helps patients with children all the way up to 3 years old. And then we partner with another organization after that. And then again, forcing the religion, that's not what we're about. We are the hands and feet of Jesus. And even if no word is shared about spiritual, we want to display his love and we will be obedient in that, but we will not force or push religion down any of our patients. I think those are the most common misconceptions. And I'm so glad that you guys are bringing this to light, because I feel like it could be a barrier to why women may not come to centers like ours, is that fear. And I just hope that if they are hearing this podcast through the different centers' eyes, that they know that is not true, and that we will meet them just where they are, and we will love them where they are and just give them valuable information and support to help them.
Yeah, that's really great. Love this. All right. I'm going to ask you to share, if you want to, one more question, one more story maybe about any changes you've seen in clients when they've received truthful, compassionate care. So you have a turnaround story that you might want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is more general, but when I was a clinic manager, my office was the first office coming from the door. So I would always see patients coming in and I would see patients leaving. And the biggest thing that I've noticed in them is after their appointment is their confidence. Like, we can't solve all their problems at their appointment, but just the way that they carry themselves after they leave even the initial appointment it was so noticeable. And that just made me so happy, because again, it goes back to the value of the woman and them knowing how valuable they are and how much they really are capable of, given the right resources and support. And so I think that is the biggest takeaway that I got to experience personally, is just seeing how the women carry themselves in and the difference it is for them when they leave, even within that first appointment.
Yeah, that is such a powerful image. It seems to me like throughout everything that you've shared today, honor and value is woven into every intricate detail of their interaction from the moment they step in the door. And they can feel that and sense that, it sounds like, when they leave the clinic. And so I just love that you've shared that. I think that's a beautiful picture. Giving these women choice, speaking value into them, allowing them to know that their opinion matters, and just there's no manipulation there. I just love that. We're speaking truth and life over them. I really love that. Yeah. What do you wish every person, pro-life or pro-choice, knew about pregnancy resource centers?
Just that we are really here to help support and guide through some of the most critical moments of your life, right? And so we're there with open arms. We're never there with judgment. We all have a past and a history, and we just really want to be there to help guide and support. So really, that's the biggest thing that I can think of, is just knowing that when you come through our doors, you're going to be treated with respect and with kindness. Doesn't matter what your background is. We see you the way the Lord sees you, and we just welcome you in. We want to provide you with medical accurate information, with resources and support just to help you. And we'll be there for anything that you allow us to be there for. So we're just come on in and experience it for yourself. That's all I could say.
Yeah, that's beautiful. A wonderful way to wrap that up into a perfect little presentation of just, we're there to respect you. We're there to support you, no matter what you're coming from. And that's just a really cool image. How can someone support your work at Options 360, whether that's your work specifically or just partnering with your clinic? What does that look like? How can someone show that support?
It's a great question. So, of course, monetarily support is always accepted. As we've talked about, all of our services are at no cost to the patient, and we also don't require or even accept insurance. But the expenses are not free, unfortunately, for us. Everything from the pregnancy tests to the gowns to all the things that we do for the testing that gets sent out to labs, that's all at a cost to us. And so it's so generously provided by, we're 100% donor funded. So we don't receive government grants. So monetary support is huge, helping supply our parent education store, if that's something that's on your heart, with everything from diapers, which our biggest need in diapers is size 4 to 6, which really says a lot, right? Because that means patients are actually coming in, continuing to come in as their baby grows older, not just newborn to 2, right? So that's really cool to say that we're consistently out of size 4 to 6. But again, any of those items, baby washes and shampoo and car seats and clothes, we do accept gently used clothes. So know that's something too. It doesn't have to be brand new. And aside from that, prayer is so valuable for us. There are hard days that our medical staff experience because we feel the weight from our patients and we care about them. And so when they're going through hard things, it does impact us. So just keeping us lifted up in prayer, obviously, and that doesn't cost anything, but it's one of the most valuable gifts we can be given.
Yeah, that's so true. How can someone spread awareness for Options 360 specifically? Is there social media that they can share? Is there any way that we can get the word out that this exists for the Vancouver, Washington community?
Yeah, so we do have a social media, which is all patient-based, and we do have a website, which is, again, patient-based. But in my role, I love to give tours. So if that's ever something that anybody is interested in, please share my contact with them. I'd love to show them the clinic so they can see firsthand and put a visual to what we're talking about. And then we can discuss in other ways that they can partner or volunteer or get involved. I love having that opportunity to just personally sit with those that want to support us or that already do support us. And so, yeah, I definitely encourage that. Just give me a call.
Awesome. That's amazing. What gives you hope to keep doing this work day after day? You touched on this in previous questions, and we're just wrapping this question up just as the end, and we're just so grateful. We just want to know, what is your hope moving forward?
You're going to make me cry at the end. Again, my hope is really just that women see their worth and that they see their worth in their unborn, and they just know how special they are. I don't think women have that. Oftentimes they really realize that they can do hard things, and I don't feel like they should have to do hard things alone. And so that's what we're there for. We're there to bridge that gap, to make the burden a little bit lighter. So really my hope is mostly just that just women come to us and seek our support, and they realize that how valuable they really are.
That's so beautiful, Nicole. Thank you so much for sharing your heart. We really appreciate you joining us today and shining a huge light on what Options 360 is, what they do, their mission, their heartbeat, and even specifically why you show up day after day. I think it's been beautiful, and we're really appreciative of the informative and clarification that has been brought today. Just that there is medical professionalism being done in this clinic. There is actual help being done even beyond the child's life. And so I just really love that. We really appreciate you coming here today and allowing us to interview and sit with you. It's been an honor. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This has really been an incredible experience.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nicole. All right, you guys will be back with show notes and wrap-ups here in just a moment.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Goodbye, Guilt and Shame. We hope this conversation with Nicole from Options 360 helps replace confusion with clarity and expose the powerful truth behind pregnancy resource centers, and specifically Options 360 Women's Clinic here in Vancouver, Washington. These places exist not to judge or manipulate, but to love, support, and walk with women through some of the most difficult decisions of their lives. And as we've heard today, truth changes everything. If this episode moved you, challenged you, or even made you curious to learn more, don't stop here. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Like, follow, download this podcast miniseries. We're across all of the major listening platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and more. And we hope that we can bring more awareness and share these resources that we highlight. If you have any questions for us or for Nicole Pierce specifically as well, you can make sure to follow up at ask@restorednation.org. Follow and support your local pregnancy resource center. And if you have questions or stories to share, email us. We believe that every woman deserves the truth. Every life has value, and every person listening can be a part of saving lives, not by force, but through compassion and truth. Until next time, we're Jess Lane and Autumn Smith, reminding you today can and will be better than yesterday.